6th Standard, Term 3, Social Science, Unit 2, The Post-Mauryan India. Introduction. The breakup of Mauryan Empire resulted in the invasion of Sakas, Scythians, Parthians, Indo-Greek or Bactrian Greeks, and Kushanas from the northwest. In the south, Satavahanas became independent after Ashoka's death. There were Sungas and Kanvas in the north before the emergence of Gupta dynasty. In Kalinga, Chedi dynasty declared their independence. It has to be noted here that though Magadha ceased to be the premier state of India, it continued to be a great center of Buddhist culture. Sources: Archaeological sources. Inscription: Copper plates. Ayodhya inscription of Dhanadeva, Persepolis, Nakshirastam inscriptions, Moga, Taxila copper plate, Junagadh, Girnar inscription, Nasik eulogy, inscription of Darius I. Coins. Coins of Satavahanas, coins of Cadaphysis II, Roman coins. Literary sources: Puranas, Gharki Samhita, Harsha Charitra of Bhanabhatha, Mahabhasya of Patanjali, Brihast Katha of Gunadhya, Madhyamika Sutra of Nagarjuna, Buddha Charitra of Ashwagosha, Malavik Agnimitra of Kalidasa. Foreign notice: accounts of Yonsang, the Chinese Buddhist monk and travelers. The Sungas and Kanvas in the north. The Sungas. The last Mauryan emperor, Brihadrata, was assassinated by his own general Pushyamitra Sunga, who established his Sunga dynasty in Magadha. Pushyamitra made Pataliputra as his capital. Pushyamitra's kingdom extended westward to include Ujjain and Vidisha. He successfully repulsed the invasion of Bactria king Menander, but Menander managed to keep Kabul and Sindh. Pushyamitra thwarted an attack from the Kalinga king Karavela. He also conquered Vidarbha. He was a staunch follower of Vedic religion. He performed 2 Ashwamedha yajnas, horse sacrifices, to assert his imperial authority. Pushyamitra was succeeded by his son Agnimitra. This Agnimitra is said to be the hero of Kalidasa's Malavik Agnimitra. The drama also refers to the victory of Vasumitra, Agnimitra's son, over the Greeks on the bank of the Sindh river. The weak successors of Sunga constantly faced threats from the Indo-Bactrians and Indo-Parthians. The Sunga dynasty lasted for about 100 years. The last Sunga king was Devabhuti. He was killed by his own minister Vasudeva Kanva. Vasudeva established the rule of Kanva dynasty in Magadha. Importance of the Sunga period. The Sungas played an important role in defending the Gangetic Valley from the encroachments of the Bactrian Greeks. Pushyamitra and then his successor revived Vedic religious practices and promoted Vaishnavism. Sanskrit gradually gained ascendancy and became the court language. Though Pushyamitra persecuted Buddhists, Buddhism continued to be followed in many parts of his domain. The Kanvas. The Kanva dynasty produced 4 kings and their rule lasted only for 45 years. The history of Magadha after the fall of the Kanva is devoid of any significance until the emergence of the Gupta dynasty. The Kanva rulers were Vasudeva, Bhumimitra, Narayana, Susarman. The last Kanva ruler, Susarman, was assassinated by his powerful feudatory chief of Andhra named Simukha, who led the foundation of the Satavahana dynasty. Satavahanas in the south. The Kushanas in the north and the Satavahanas, Andhras, in the south flourished for about 300 years and 450 years respectively. Simukha, the founder of Satavahana dynasty, is said to have ruled for 23 years. His successor was his brother Krishna. The latter and his nephew Satakarni ruled for 10 years each, establishing an empire holding control over a vast area stretching from Rajasthan in the northwest to Andhra in the southeast and from Gujarat in the west to Kalinga in the east. Satakarni is said to have performed two horse sacrifices, Ashwamedha Yajna, indicative of his imperial position. Gautamiputra Satakarni was the greatest ruler of the family. In the Nasik eulogy published by his mother Gautami Balsari, Gautamiputra Satakarni is described as the destroyer of Sakas, Yavanas Greek, and Pallavas Parthians. The extent of the empire is also mentioned in the record. Their domain included Maharashtra, North Konkan, Berar, Gujarat, Kathiawar, and Malwa. His ship coins are suggestive of Andhra's skill in seafaring and their naval power. The Bogor inscription suggests that South India played an important role in the process of early state formation in the Southeast Asia. Contribution of Satavahanas. Literature. The Satavahana king Hala was himself a great scholar of Sanskrit. The Kantara school of Sanskrit flourished in the Deccan in the 2nd century BC. Hala is famous as the author of Satasai Saptasati, 700 stanzas in Prakrit. Art and architecture. The Satavahana ruler were great builders. They began constructing Buddhist stupas in Amaravati. A bronze statue of the standing Buddha discovered in Ok Eo, an archaeological site in Vietnam, resembles the Amaravati style. The later Satavahana kings issued lead and bronze coins depicting ships with two masts. A stone seal discovered in Nakhon Pathom in Thailand has the same design. Gandhara, Madura, Amaravati, Bodh Gaya, Sanchi, and Bharut were known for splendid monuments and art. The Mathura school of sculpture produced images and life-size statues of the Buddhist, Brahminical, and Jain deities. Indo-Greek, Indo-Parthians, Saka, and Kushanas. Indo-Greek and Indo-Parthians. After the conquest of the northwestern India and the Punjab region, Alexander the Great left the conquered territories under the provincial governors. Two of its eastern satrapies, Bactria and Parthia, revolted under their Greek governors and declared their independence. The satrapy of Bactria became independent under the leadership of Diodotus I and Parthia under Arsaces. After the decline of Mauryan Empire, the Greek rulers of Bactria and Parthia started encroaching into the northwestern borderlands of India. The Bactria and Parthia settlers gradually intermarried and intermixed with indigenous population. This facilitated the establishment of Indo-Greek and Indo-Parthian colonies along the northwestern part of India. Contributions of Indo-Greek. Coinage. Indo-Greek rulers introduced a die system and produced properly shaped coins with inscriptions, symbols, and engraved figures on them. Indians learnt this art from them. Sculpture. The Gandhara school of Indian art is heavily indebted to Greek influence. The Greeks were good cave builders. The Mahayana Buddhists learned the art of carving out caves from them and became skilled in rock-cut architecture. Sakas. The Indo-Greek rule in India was ended by the Sakas. Sakas as nomads came in huge number and spread all over northern and western India. The Sakas were against the tribe of Turkey nomads. Sakas were Scythians, nomadic ancient Iranians, and known as Sakas in Sanskrit. Saka's rule was founded by Maus or Mogain in the Gandhara region and his capital was Sirka. His name is mentioned in Mora inscription. His coins bear image of Buddha and Shiva. Rudradhaman was the most important and famous king of Sakas. His Junagadh or Girnar inscription was the first inscription in the chaste Sanskrit. In India, the Sakas were assimilated into Indian society. They began to adopt Indian names and practice Indian religious beliefs. The Sakas appointed Satrapas as provincial governors to administer their territories. Kushanas. The Kushanas formed a section of the Yunchi tribes who inhabited northwestern China in the remote past. In the 1st century BC, the Yunchi tribes were composed of 5 major sections, of which the Kushana attained political ascendancy over others. By the beginning of the Christian era, all the Yunchi tribes had acknowledged the supremacy of the Kushanas. They had shed their nomadic habits and settled down in the Bactria and Parthian lands adjacent to the northwestern border of India. The Kushanas overran Bactria and Parthia and gradually established themselves in the northern India. Their concentration were mostly in the Punjab, Rajputanas and Kathiawar. Kushana rulers were Buddhists. Takshashila and Mathura continued to be the great centers of Buddhist learning, attracting students from China and Western Asia. The Kushana kings. Kanishka. Kanishka was the greatest of all the Kushana emperors. He assumed the sovereignty in 78 AD and proclaimed his rule by the foundation of a new era, which later became Saka era. The Kushana capital initially was Kabul. Later it was shifted to Peshawar or Purushpura. Conquests. Kanishka conquered and annexed Kashmir. He waged a successful war against Magadha. He also waged a war against a ruler of Parthia to maintain safety and integrity in his vast empire on the western and southwestern border. After the conquest of Kashmir and Gandhara, he turned his attention towards China. He defeated the Chinese general Pan Qiang and safeguarded the northern borders of India from Chinese intrusion. His empire extended from Kashmir down to Benares and the Vindhya mountain in the south. It included Kashgar, Yarkand, touching the borders of Persia and Parthia. Religious policy. Kanishka was an ardent Buddhist. Kanishka's empire was a Buddhist empire. Kanishka adopted Buddhism under the influence of Ashwagosha, a celebrated monk from Pataliputra. Though a great warrior and an empire builder, Kanishka was as equal as the exponent and champion of Mahayanism. Kanishka made Buddhism as the state religion and built many stupas and monasteries in Mathura, Taxila, and many other parts of his kingdom. He sent Buddhist missionaries to Tibet, China, and many countries of Central Asia for the propagation of Buddha's gospel. He organized the 4th Buddhist Council at Kundalavana near Srinagar to sort out the difference between the various schools of Buddhism. It was only in this council that Buddhism was split into Hinayanism and Mahayanism. Art and literature. Kanishka was a great patron of art and literature. His court was adorned with a number of Buddhist saints and scholars like Ashwagosha, Vasumitra, and Nagarjuna. He founded the town of Kanishkapura in Kashmir and furnished the capital of Purushpura with magnificent public buildings. The Gandhara school of art flourished during his time. The most favorite subject of the Gandhara artists was the carving of sculptures of Buddha. Buddhist learning and sculpture was taken to China and Mongolia from Takshashila. The great Asiatic culture mingled with Indian Buddhist culture during the Kushana's time. Kanishka's successors were weak and incompetent. Kushana Empire rapidly disintegrated into number of small principalities. Glossary. Repulsed, driven back by force, thwarted, prevent from accomplishing something, encroachments, intrusion on a person's territory, rights, etc. Renovated, restored something old, especially a building, to a good state of repair. Assimilate, absorb information, ideas, or culture fully. Ardent, enthusiastic or passionate, magnificent, impressively beautiful. During the Sunga period, stone was replaced by wood in the railing and gateways of Buddhist stupas as seen in Bharut and Sanchi. Patanjali, the second grammarian in Sanskrit, was patronized by Pushyamitra. King Kharavela of Kalinga was a contemporary of these Sungas. We get information about Kharavela from the Hathigupa inscription. The world-famous life-size statues of Buddha at Bamyan Valley on the mountains of the erstwhile in northwestern frontiers of ancient India, currently in central Afghanistan and recently destroyed by the Talibans, were carved out of the solid rocks by the dedicated artists of the Gandhara school of art during the post-Mauryan period. Rulers of Indo-Greeks. Demetrius I. He was the son of Greco-Bactrian ruler Euthydemus. He was the king of Macedonia from 294 to 288 BC. Numismatic evidence proves that Demetrius issued bilingual square coins with Greek on the obversive and Kharoshthi on the reverse. Scholars are not able to decide which of the three named Demetrius was the initiator of the Yavana era commencing from 2nd century BC in India. Menander. He was one of the best known Indo-Greek kings. He is said to have ruled a large kingdom in the northwest of the country. His coins were found over the extensive area ranging from Kabul Valley and Indus River to western Uttar Pradesh. Milinda Panha, a Buddhist text, is a discourse between Bactria king Milinda and the learned Buddhist scholar Nagasena. This Milinda is identified with Menander. Menander is believed to have become a Buddhist and promoted Buddhism. Rulers of Indo-Parthians. Pallavas. Indo-Parthians came after the Indo-Greeks and the Indo-Scythians, who were in turn defeated by the Kushanas in the second half of the 1st century AD. Indo-Parthian kingdom or Gondoparid dynasty was founded by Gondopharans. The domain of the Indo-Parthians comprised Kabul and Kandahar. The name of Gondopharans is associated with the Christian apostle Saint Thomas. He came to India and, according to Christian tradition, visited the court of Gondopharans and embraced Christianity. Kushanas. Rulers. Contribution. Rulers. Cadphises I. He was the first famous military and political leader of the Kushanas. He overthrew the Indo-Greek and Indo-Parthian rulers and established himself as a sovereign ruler of Bactria. He extended his power in Kabul, Gandhara and up to the Indus. Cadphises II. He maintained friendly relationship with the emperors of China and Rome and encouraged trade and commerce with the foreign countries.